A non-profit organization with extensive ties to the Chinese regime found to be giving millions of dollars to American climate and environmental groups. That's according to a Fox News report citing the foundation's tax filings. The revelation has raised concerns of Chinese influence in U.S. energy policies. Critics argue such ties might compromise U.S. national security, making the U.S. reliant on China for resources essential to renewable energy. The group, known as Energy Foundation China, is registered in California with its Chinese office registered in Beijing. The organization reportedly contributed $3.8 million to climate initiatives in the U.S. The receiver of such funds include agencies that engage with the White House on climate policy and advocate phasing out fossil fuels and natural gas. The group has significant ties to the CCP. Its current CEO is a former Chinese official, and some key staff members served in high-ranking roles inside Chinese state agencies and research institutions. Beyond that, executives tied to the nonprofit frequently meet with Chinese officials and CCP-linked institutes, reportedly to discuss what they call cooperation between the U.S. and China on climate issues. According to a 2017 press release from the Chinese regime, the nonprofit CEO at the time said the foundation hoped to further serve China's going global national strategy and participate in the work of the Belt and Road Initiative. As of 2015, the release stated the nonprofit had contributed a cumulative $240 million in grants to China. The organization receives its funding from private Western foundations like the MacArthur Foundation and the Rockefeller Brothers Fund. The revelation comes amid an ongoing congressional probe into the CCP's growing influence on the American environmental activist movement. China dominates the green energy market. The country produces the majority of the world's lithium-ion batteries, plus the critical minerals that are key to building electric vehicles. The Chinese regime has long advocated for international cooperation on climate issues and portrayed itself as a leader in the global climate initiative, though critics say much of its advocacy remains lip service, especially when it comes to cutting carbon emissions inside its own border. China emitted 27% of the world's greenhouse gases in 2019, exceeding the combined emissions of all developed nations. Its CO2 emissions are roughly twice that of the United States each year. The U.S. was the second largest emitter at 11%. Meanwhile, the regime continues to rapidly approve new coal-fired power stations, building the equivalent of 2 new coal plants per week in 2022. China's CO2 emissions grew 10% year-on-year in the first quarter of 2023.